noticed that were involved were always over the edge with it.
Yeah.
And Shirley Clausen, her husband, did life insurance. And the second policy that Chad bought on Tammy, he bought from them.
Oh, what a connection. My goodness.
After Tammy died, Shirley Clausen actually helped Chad fill out the paperwork to submit that on that life insurance stuff. Her husband was a self-imposed watermaster, and there was a ditch right along that fence where JJ was buried. And Eldon was always walking those ditches. A week after JJ, the last time we see him, Eldon died of the same thing they initially said Tammy died of.
A heart incident, some kind of cardiac incident.
Right. And a pulmonary embolism or whatever they called it. I think, this is just Bernadine, right? I think because he noticed if you dug a hole in your yard, it was ridiculous. And I think that he noticed and they had to do away with him. And I've told Fremont County that, and they're like, yeah, Platesville.
No, so I can see that. I've been to the property down there, and I know what you mean. There's that ditch that goes right along, and then you go a few feet further in, and then you're there where the site where everything was discovered. So, and it sounds like he was a curious person and a person who's not afraid to be invasive. So it sounds like if there were a secret or something that he didn't understand, he would dive right in, and that would be the last thing they would need happening. Oh my goodness. But law enforcement has never, they're probably so inundated with what's there already. I mean, how many bodies are already piled up around this scenario with the husband and the brother? And wow. I know that his children seem to be supportive of him. Even through these trials and things. Do your kids still have any contact, or do you have any, or nothing?
No,
just what you heard through the ward, or?
No. Gabriel. Well, and one of the reasons I think too is I've been outspoken, because on Facebook they really went after me. They're like, shut your mouth,
Oh,
but Gabriel,
that code of silence.
Oh, it is thick, and and it is kind of interesting because I've talked to a couple of close friends. One of them, she said to me, well, I was speaking to so-and-so, and they were at one of Chad's meetings, and the husband and wife were standing together right there, and Chad told her that he had been married to her in a previous life.
Someone else's wife he used that line on? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, because that's what got Lori, too. Yeah, and with the husband right there. Yeah, well, there is precedence for that in church history, if we're honest. So, oh, my goodness. Yeah. But so you sense that there, because we've heard that articles have come out, letters have been written to wards, do not speak, do not say. So that's a real thing, whether imposed culturally by the ward or actual instructions. No one is supposed to talk about any details, because people do know. Like you said, it's a very close community, so that's real. That's a real thing. That cone of silence. Okay.
Oh, I absolutely, I absolutely believe that there is. And it annoys me. It really annoys me, because I feel like, when I was in college in Rexburg, a girl was, I don't want to say the R word. Man, I'll tell you what, that college shut it down. The town shut it down. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Rexburg where one of my children was arrested in high school. The police lost the report twice. They lost the video report. I mean, and it's because they were insured by the same people the school district was insured by, So there's a lot of nonsense that I think goes on. And I think that after this all broke, I think it was Elder Holland went to Rexburg, and everybody was so traumatized. They were hoping that he was going to say something. And he said nothing.
Yeah, they can't weigh in. It's too charged.
It offended a lot of people. It really offended a lot of people. But people suddenly up and moved. You know, one of my sons is a resource officer, and he goes, we suddenly were having to check on children that no longer were coming to school, and they had just up and moved. They were involved in all this. Yeah. And so, you know, he said that they were interviewing, stakes were pulling people and interviewing people, you know. There were thousands of people that were involved either with Chad or similar type things, you know.
Yeah, well, the whole subculture is so huge. And it's interesting to me to see, and you've probably noticed this, Steve, just the world looking at Idaho right there and what's going on and how they kind of interpret it, and it's so different to them. They can, and also the frustration with how the trial, you know, why can't there be cameras, why can't there be media, you know,
right.
They don't understand the culture, so they don't understand how it operates at all, you know. And I'll read these news stories and think, oh, you don't, how could they get it though? How could they really understand? So
they can't. And you know, and going to the trial, there's a bunch of Twitter people that I follow that are in the courtroom, you know.
Right, like Lauren, I think you mentioned. Are you following Lauren quite a bit?
Nate Eaton and and you know, and Pretty Lies and Alibis, she's another good one to follow. And she puts up these emojis about the looks on the jurors' faces as they're presented with this stuff is absolute, because this is new to them, you know. And it just keeps getting more and more bizarre. But we can see, I can see where that comes from. Yeah.
That's the thing. We can connect the dots on that. And I've been surprised too, how many friends of mine don't know some of the, what you call deeper doctrine, you know, especially about like multiple mortalities and plural probations, which Joseph Smith actually was very interested in at the time of his death. Eliza R. Snow was also very interested, you know, and that's where, like you said, these people, these groups take it to the next level, you know, and then a level beyond that. So it definitely has shown a spotlight on just some things that people were never aware of.
I want to say a couple of things. First of all, just so everybody knows, Rexburg is the home. Now, you went to what was called Ricks College, but now it's called BYU Idaho. So Rexburg is a college town that is, it's a church-run school now. BYU Idaho, it's always been, but they just changed the name. And so that adds to the culture of this whole thing. You've also, there's a lot to unpack here, and I know our time is limited, but I also think it's important that we also kind of, because it's interesting to me, on one of my trips to Utah, I was talking to a TVM, a well-known TVM, who was quoting the Julie Rowe prophecies still, after all this time. And I was like, so maybe just talk a little bit about who was Julie Rowe. And I know you said when you first read it, I was like, and then, of course, in her relationship with Chad, because he actually, didn't he publish her books? Is that was his publishing company?
Yeah, he did. And they were all in Deseret Book.
That's right. Yeah. So talk a little bit about Julie Rowe and Chad, and then I want us to kind of talk a little bit more about the cultural stuff, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the trial too.